Good morning and welcome to a beautiful, beautiful June morning in Minnesota. It's so beautiful I almost hate to leave. But we're setting up for another epic road trip through North Dakota, into Montana, Glacier National Park, then down to Yellowstone, past the Grand Tetons, then coming up through Colorado and back across Nebraska, coming home. So it's going to be about a week and a half of epic driving, epic views that I can't wait to share with you. And of course we'll be doing this all electric in a 2021 Tesla Model Y. Now, we've only had this since March. We've done a few trips with it, so I have no concerns about it. But we will be going up into some places in northern Montana especially, where the charging's a little iffy. So we'll see if we have any adventures centered around that. But I'm hoping our adventures are more in the area of wildlife and great scenic views. And on this trip, it will be me, my daughter, and my brother through the entire trip. And then my wife is going to fly out and actually meet us in Bozeman, Montana. And she'll be hitting Glacier National Park with us. And so we'll be doing some of those adventures as a whole family. And one point of clarification, last spring we did an epic road trip to Austin, Texas, Orlando, Florida, and back up to Minnesota. And I named that trip A Frunk Full of Diapers. You can see the playlist on my channel. But I didn't clarify that my daughter has special needs and doesn't have great bladder control and is nonverbal. And so I think the name of that trip kind of confused some people. But we're all planned for it. But if I bring up the fact that we're going to need to do a diaper change or something, that's just what it is. Now, if my brother and I were to do this trip, or my wife and I do this trip alone, we would just kind of hammer through the driving days and get to the scenery quick. But with my daughter in tow, I don't want to push her that hard, burn her out on the first couple days, and have the rest of the trip pretty miserable. So I used a better route planner to kind of plan with the places we want to go, what are good milestones, manageable days for her for travel times. So tomorrow we have an event at Bismarck, North Dakota State Capitol, where we're meeting the North Dakota Tesla Owners Group, and then we're going to go to Dickinson after that event. But I wanted to get a jump start, so we're starting from Fargo tomorrow morning, so it's not drive all the way from the Twin Cities across Minnesota and across North Dakota in one day. So trying to break it up into manageable chunks. And then once I used a better route planner to find where our stops would be, then I looked around on PlugShare near those locations for campsites with plugs, hotels with destination charging, things like that. So we don't necessarily need to supercharge the whole time. Now we're just coming out of all the COVID restrictions. School just got out, and so everything is booked up. Every campsite with a plug is taken near anywhere where we want to be. So we are going to be in hotels the entire time, which has its pluses and minuses. But really, those are going to be sleeping spots and not really key to seeing the things we want to see. So while I had the windows for a better route planner and PlugShare up on my computer, I also had Zach and Jesse's Now You Know Supercharger Review website up. And so as we're getting to places where I haven't been before, it's good to just kind of see what's around with different supercharger reviews. And some are more thorough than others, but you at least get a sense of where things are in the parking lot, what the situation is, and if there are any good restaurants around. So that's another thing on a trip like this that I just kind of glance over some of those new locations, take a look, and familiarize myself. So as we pull in, I know what we're getting into. I'm packing in a little different way too. Most nights we're going to be in different hotels, so I'm packing bags for my daughter and I of just simple grab, this stuff goes into hotels. Then we don't have to worry about moving stuff between bags, taking 6 or 7 bags up just for one night stay, and constantly loading and reloading the car. And similarly, when we're on the trails, we're going to pack one trail bag, and that's going to have some light snacks, first aid kit, all the basics for hiking. So when we get to a trail, it's not a big mess. We just grab that bag, we know it's set to go, and hit the road. And the idea is to be efficient and make the days enjoyable and as easy as possible, but also see everything we possibly can. So that's probably enough driveway talk and setup. We're going to spend the day packing up, cleaning the car, making sure that everything's organized and easy to find, and then I'll pick it back up when we're ready to head out. We knew we were going to have to make one stop on the way to Fargo, so there was no point in charging all the way to 100% when 89% would do just fine. At 4:40 p.m., we hit the road. Hello, we are in Alexandria, and it's a little windy outside, so I'm filming in here. We got here with, I didn't even notice, I'll have to put it up on the screen, but we're up to 41% already. It said a 15-minute stop. But so far, after we got out of all the traffic and road construction around the cities, it's been smooth sailing. The sun's back out, and it's a really beautiful afternoon. We need to run into Target here, pick up a couple last-minute things for the road, and then run up and get dinner. Maybe we'll get that on the way out of town because this is going to be done very quickly. Welcome to Fargo. It's a little after 9 p.m. and we got here with plenty of charge, I think 35%. Overcharged down in Alexandria as well because the car was ready before we were. A beautiful night for a drive. I think we had a pretty good tailwind, so our efficiency was above what the predicted amount was on both stretches pretty easily. So although we navigated to the supercharger, we only needed a 10-minute top-up to make that trip. Again, by the time I'm recording all this stuff, it's going to be finished. We have a hotel here in Fargo where we'll be staying a few blocks away. Really nice to finish a day while it's still light out. Just enjoy the sunset as we get here, and hopefully we'll all get a pretty good night of sleep and be ready to roll in the morning. All right, we're about to leave with about 65%. Had a little diaper situation, but got over 80, so that should be plenty for sightseeing in the morning. Good morning. It is Thursday morning. We had a fun morning of playing in the pool. After a pretty scant night of sleep, but we did get some rest. We're still at 79% here. Just let it sit overnight, almost 10 o'clock in the morning, and we're just going to hit the road, head over to Jamestown, check out the Buffalo Museum and the Buffalo statue and the real live buffalo there. Buffalo, buffalo, buffalo. We might make a stop in Valley City or Tower City to see the Highline Bridge, giant railroad bridge that's just kind of cool to see. We don't have to be in Bismarck till 3:30 for the group event there, and then that runs from 4 to 7, but we want to get a car wash and some other things first because we are bug central right now. So we're just waiting for my brother to grab some coffee, and then we will be on our way. In Valley City, we stopped by Chautauqua Park under the High Line Bridge for some playtime. Suddenly, there was a loud roar from the sky. A quick look around revealed someone practicing stunt flying across the valley. Loud, but pretty cool to see. Then, on our way to Jamestown. We just plugged into 212 kilowatts. Cooking right away, we've dropped down under 200 now, but not bad for 34%. And I don't think we need to be here long, so we'll check that out, get some lunch, and get back here. And go see some buffalo. Wrapping up our charge in Jamestown. We're going to just be here for 10 minutes, but Burger King was a nightmare lunch rush. Took quite a while, so we're just heading out now. We're going to go over and eat by the Buffalo Museum. We ate lunch in the parking lot, saw the giant buffalo, and took our time touring the relatively small museum. We pulled out ahead of schedule, and everything was going perfectly to plan.
The air pressure is in tires is very low. Good. Oh. What's the problem? Oh, come on here. If there wasn't something in that parking lot that we just rolled over. 17. Shit. We're gonna have to. No, just get past this. Okay, get into that. And, well, get on the shoulder. Well, we're 12. Oh, yeah, we can do that. It's alright, we've got a tire pump. Yeah, we're 12 though. You should stop here. Yeah. At the top. It's okay. I mean, that's a fast leak, though. Yes, it is. Shit. It's okay.
We were lucky to be able to pull off in a safe spot to assess the situation. Michael found the leak pretty easily.
Found it.
We rolled forward a bit to put the puncture at the top. Michael made his own luck by bringing a plug kit and compressor. He got to work while I called roadside assistance. They answered right away. But since they don't have a service center in North Dakota, they were limited in the help they could offer. They could arrange a tow for us, but we had to make sure the place we were being towed to had the tire and could install it. I asked for suggestions from the North Dakota Tesla Owners Group while I called the Jamestown tire places. No one had the tire, and the soonest they were likely to get a replacement for this set was Monday or Tuesday. It could be a 5-day wait. That would sink the trip and be super expensive. Not just the wait and the tire repair, but the prepaid hotels and my wife's flight we'd be missing out on. The North Dakota owners Chad, Ryan, and Miles were on the spot on Facebook, helpful in suggesting Northwest Tire, so we went with them. They did have another set of tires that would fit the Model Y, and they could still get us in that day. It took 2 plugs, but Michael was able to stop the leak enough to hold pressure, so rather than wait for a tow truck, we gingerly drove back to Jamestown for our 4 p.m. appointment. The new set was $850, and although it was expensive, it was less than I'd expected, considering the vehicle and scarcity of size. I probably could have gotten away with a patch or just one tire, but I wasn't sure if what we hit could have affected another tire. We were still at the start of this trip, and I didn't want to skimp and regret it later. $850 was way less than new hotel rooms and arrangements, while we also paid for uncancelable rooms and flights elsewhere. As they did the swap, we hit the Dairy Queen next door and walked a few blocks to a nearby park. Joan had been very good through all of this, but was starting to lose patience. After a sweaty hour or so at the park, we walked back to check on their progress. They were just wrapping up balancing the new tires, and we got a good look at the plugs Michael had put in. Pretty mashed up, but they did their job. Shortly after 5, we were back on the road, feeling confident that we could keep our schedule.
How's it going back there? Are you hiding under blankies? You're doing really good. You're doing really good.
Our problems were behind us, and rock chip. While behind a semi in a construction zone, we took a hard hit to the windshield. I'd even backed off to prevent one. Luckily, although deep, it didn't spider out too badly, and we were able to carry on. We pulled into Bismarck around 6:30, showing up to the EV tailgate party at the state capitol with a dirty car, chipped windshield, and looking like we'd been marooned. Not the presentation I wanted to make, but it looked like it had been a great event. There were still test drives and demonstrations going on, and I was even able to talk to a few folks interested in the Model Y and show it off a little bit. Cool to see the other EVs there, the construction equipment and yard tools as well. Also great to have a few minutes to catch up with Jason, Brian, Arnie, and Sue, all of whom were offering help or advice on the windshield or tire pressure concerns we were having. After the event, we hit the Bismarck supercharger on the way out of town and tried to get dinner at Five Guys while we charged.
We plugged in at 7%, but the battery had time to cool down, so we're just getting 100 kilowatts right now, but it'll probably ramp up over time, and we're going to go get some dinner.
Joan had reached her behavior limit for the day, though, and we had to leave early. I couldn't really blame her. I was exhausted, too. We drove from Bismarck to Dickinson, crossing into mountain time.
Plugged in and ramping up here in Dickinson. It is 8:43 and 131 kilowatts. Still cruising up at 37%, not bad, 140. We're going to hit the restroom at Cashwise and hopefully be out of here relatively soon.
Topping up at the supercharger took a little longer as we cleaned the windshield and had to take care of some diaper issues in the store. By the time we reached the hotel a few blocks away, we were all worn out and ready to crash. The roller coaster of a day was behind us, and I was looking forward to sleeping it off and starting fresh the next day. We had a tour of the Dinosaur Museum in the morning, then more sights as we drove across Montana to get our first mountain views. But that and more will have to wait for part 2 of our adventure. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss the drama to come. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.